Hi, everyone. By the way, I'm well, actually, it's more Ryan at this point, but we're subbing for Morgan today, and Ryan is also hosting. Um, Welcome to Vista Center's Tech It Out with Vista. My name is Alice, and I am one of Vista's technology specialists. We are grateful that you've joined us for today's presentation by AccessiblePlus.AI, a voice-first AI coaching and digital platform built specifically for blind and low vision individuals. We are recording today's meeting. If you do not want to be recorded, you can turn your camera off or exit the Zoom meeting. In a couple of weeks, today's recording will be available on our website, vistacenter.org, under Accessible Technology, then Tech It Out. It will also be uploaded to YouTube, and so be sure to check it out and give us a like and follow while you're there. We host these monthly tech presentations on the first Friday of every month, unless otherwise specified. As an attendee today, your name will be on our Tech It Out email list, and you will receive a meeting announcement 1 or 2 weeks prior to each meeting. Our next Tech It Out will be June 6, 2026 at 10 a.m. and will be virtual only. For today's presentation, I've muted everyone. During Q&A, if you would like to ask a question, please raise your hand. I'll call on people in the order hands were raised, and when I call on you, you will need to unmute yourself. For those not familiar with Zoom meeting shortcuts on a PC, Alt-Y raises and lowers your hand. Alt-A mutes and unmutes audio. Holding down the space bar will temporarily unmute and mute. On the Mac, Option Y to raise and lower your hand. Command Shift A to mute and unmute. By phone, star 9 to raise and lower your hand, and star 6 to toggle mute and unmute. With that, I'd like to introduce Randy Kruzeniski, founder of AccessiblePlus.AI. He is also executive advisor and AI transformational consultant. I'm very much looking forward to hearing about what sounds like to me a very fascinating first AI coaching platform designed for blind and low vision individuals. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Alice and Ryan, for hosting, and I'm really excited to be here and able to talk about this. And Accessible Plus AI is a real passion for the senior citizen with questionable tech skills, even though I was for years an executive in the IT industry and running areas like human resources and transformation and software development and those types of things. However, I've also spent a fair bit of time as an executive advisor and coach, and also doing it within the nonprofit area with various organizations around the world for the nonprofits in the blind and partially sighted area. And what jumped out at me was a number of things from a global perspective. Was first, in the underdeveloped countries, there was this lack of service. 60 to 80% of the people in our community, I am told, blind, and were had either no service or maybe one touch service. And then in working with nonprofits in the developed countries, I realized that in many times there's gaps, within the rural area. So I started to think I wanted to build something that would be free to use, free for users, and free for those nonprofits that were serving our community. And so then along came something called conversational AI. And what conversational AI is, if you don't know, it's basically a structured system where the humans can interact with software through natural language and using a voice or text. And basically you can then perform tasks, access information, receive guidance. And basically I used conversational AI to build all of these AI coaches. And I'll get into what Accessible Plus AI does, but one although it was built voice first for our community, so with and by and with our community, there were some bonuses that what started to happen has happened is that other people with other disabilities have started to jump on board. Print disabilities, neurodivergent, dyslexia, ADHD, etc., etc. In fact, I had an email from someone who said, I have 9 of my 14 individuals in our family have dyslexia, and we love it because this is voice interactive coaches that we're on it, constantly. So what AccessiblePlus.AI is? It's an AI coaching, consulting, and capability ecosystem. And it focuses in the areas of leadership, learning, livelihood, and work. And it runs 24/7. And it's each of the 9 coaches that are up on the website would have over 40,000 pages of designed intelligence and workflow and quality assurance and safeguards, etc. So a lot of work goes into these, and they're called white box builds, and it's really a lot of design knowledge and intelligence that goes in. So it is not, generative AI in any way, shape, or form. So how it was built, and I won't get into a lot of detail, but it was really myself who, for the first 2 portions, used conversational AI to build the strategic AI architecture of the entire AI ecosystem, which was all of the coaches, and there's a campus involved. And then I had a methodology for that, and I had another methodology, 8-step methodology, that built each individual AI coach. And then I had our community of some very dedicated testers that would help me with unit and system testing, and I'm so thankful. And then I had another individual using primarily conversational AI, and they were doing the voice component, which was through 11 labs. And each one of these coaches, it makes a lot of effort to build the right persona and personality and natural voice and all of that goes with that. And then the text component, and they have to work with another system on that. And then the whole sort of security and integrating it all was done on something called Superbase. And then Accessible Plus AI it delivers the whole package. I'll take a few minutes and just run through what some of the coaches, what they do. And basically, I think within these 9 coaches that are on the website, each one of them, to a certain degree, has also is a learning tool and promoting sort of confidence and independence and skills enhancement. But the first one that was built was something called Ricardo, which is a leadership coach. And just to give an example of how intense this is, there's 2,800 tools and learning modules and playbooks that are in Ricardo, and there's not much that you can't find in Ricardo when it comes to leadership and decision making, etc. The next one is something called, and that's a learning coach that, although it has various disciplines in the technology area and other areas that lots of learning, it also helps people prepare a curriculum, a learning plan, a study plan, but also I built in the ability to design your own custom micro learning, and so, sort of a 3 or 10 minute micro learning on a number of subjects, and you can test it out and try, and hopefully it will deliver for you. The other one, the next coach is called Esha, and that's an employment coach, and that one really starts the person from the support to the opportunity, right through the whole process. And there's a career coach named Sage, and that's really a lot about confidence, independence, and career tools, those kinds of things. Then comes Dex, an assistive tech coach, which although primarily built for the blind and partially sighted, what kept happening was other disabilities were asking for more. So I did build in other types of technologies that could help certain individuals, but certainly it would have all the, and I try to keep up as best I can. And then there's a couple of AI coaches. One is Amanda, a consultant that is about as sophisticated as you can get on the AI side, starting from the literacy, going right up to the AI architecture. And then, because I'm so passionate about conversational AI, and I'll explain why, I built a Conrad, and he runs a conversational AI campus. He starts people out from the fundamentals right up to being a true, conversational AI architect. And the reason that I'm so high on conversational AI is that its growth rate will be roughly projected at about 24% for the next 8 to 10 years. It's going to be over $100 billion industry, and within the next 5 years, every industry, it's starting now, it will be wanting to build these, I'm going to call them sophisticated AI coaches. And that's why I strongly believe that for the blind and partially sighted community, this is our time and our opportunity. I'll take you in the Wayback Machine. Back in the 1970s, when I started programming COBOL, COBOL ran 70% of the world's IT systems. And that was the language at the time. And what happened was, at the time, there were tens of thousands of blind and partially sighted employed in that profession. Very common. The first IT shop that I went into as a young programmer, there was intermediate, partially sighted individual, and 2 senior, totally blind developers. And I just thought that was the way it was. Things changed, and then that profession, as COBOL went kind of out the window, it changed for our community. But along came conversational AI, and that's where I jumped on it a couple of years ago, and realized that a lot of the neural pathways that made us successful in building COBOL programs were very similar to what was needed to build conversational AI systems, and that was thinking structurally, conceptual models, being able to, had abstract logical flow, execute discipline, etc. So that's why I built the first campus that I built was that. I also do mentoring for individuals who want to develop in that area, etc. So as well, there's a couple of other coaches on the website. What's also happened is because of this, some organizations have asked for some individual AI coach builds, and so an example, there's a Ohio Site Center Northwest is testing out a vision loss sort of support and an O&M support coach, and there's someone in another country is doing on a guide dog one. There's a request for an independent living and advocacy, etc. And it's all to really support and it's about support and learning to add to the experience that let's say a Vista would be provided. And it's sort of 24/7. And when the official training isn't going on with, let's say, Vista or another organization, people can go on to these coaches and supplement it. So that's why it was put together. But the key with all of this is that it's not prompt. It's not sort of random prompt generative AI. These are engineered, constructed, conversational AI architected. So, and it's been interesting. I've not officially launched this site. You are one of the first. In fact, you are the largest group that I have spoken to on this, and very few, because what's happened is it's spread organically, and I've been funding it myself and bootstrapping it because I'm holding to that I want it to be free to our community, and so I have to stage it. It's not like I have a lot of tons of money. I'm retired and I'm spending what I can, but that's been my goal all along. But I've been so thankful that people have pitched in and helped out, and that it's actually spread organically, and we really haven't officially launched it. One of the things we have noticed is what happens is people go on, and the first time, they'll spend about a minute, and they'll talk to a coach, and they'll go, "Oh my God, it's like talking to a person." And sometimes it almost freaks them out. They go, "Oh, this is different." But as they get more comfortable asking questions and moving on, then initially it was people were on for roughly 1 minute. Then sort of about a month or two later, they were averaging about 8 minutes, and now we're getting close to 18 and 20 minutes a session. More people are going on to different like conversational AI, and they'll do entire sessions on a module of a course or something. So the time being spent is getting longer and longer, which is great. So I just encourage people, the best way is just go on, play with it. And the way people use it is everything from training and learning is really the big one, without a doubt. People do interview prep with Vesha. They'll do problem solving, asking questions. Certainly, step by step, how to do something. Breaking down something they want to understand. Definitely go in for learning tools, and sometimes just helping thinking through decisions. So it's a wide variety, and everybody sort of uses it with what they're comfortable with. But that's sort of the gist of it. What I ask, because you really are early on in this, I'm going to welcome questions, but I'm also going to ask if you have input on coaches or ideas or features that you'd like to see, or want to think that would be worthwhile. I definitely want to hear about them because this is early stage. There's no ifs, and I don't want anybody to think it's anything but we're early stage. Growth has been really pleasing, and with the way people are using it, and etc. But and again, build sort of by and with our community. So yeah, any question?
Roberto has a question. Go ahead, Roberto.
Sorry about that. This sounds pretty cool. Though I did have a little hard time hearing all of that, but so how does it know where to start, like when to where to train you, or you're in the middle of the training process. How does it know where to begin? If you want to resume in this.
When you go on and ensure that your mic is working with your first coach, and when you first start, it will ask you, it will have an introduction, and it will ask you how you want to, what would you like to talk about, and or something like that, and you can basically explain to it what's on your mind, what you want to work on. An example, you might go into, Amanda, the consultant, and you might say, give me the basic definition of AI. I want to learn the basics about AI. Very introductory, and it'll start you off there. Or you might go into, Esha, the employment coach, and say, you know what, I want to do a job search. How should I start? And it's very interactive. Try to build as much natural language into it as possible, so you really get pitch and inflection and all of that in these coaches. And I hope as you try it out, you'll sort of feel like, okay, this is very it's like truly talking to a person. But just ask questions, and sometimes just go say, I'm thinking about this, can you help me? And it'll respond.
So I'm just curious to know how this would work. So I'm building something, nothing like what you're doing, but I'm building an onboarding process, and it's using a little bit of AI. And so, for example, if you're learning how to become a Vista intern, but you're trying to learn how to handle when people come on into to find out about Vista, how to handle it, where you can politely say, okay, it's been about 15 minutes. I need to go do some work. How do I exit that conversation? And so something like that is what I'm crafting out, pieces of that. So this just sounds really cool. Since I wonder if I could use it somehow in that way. But either way, thank you. That sounds pretty cool.
I would say absolutely. I mean, go into either Amanda, with the AI consultant, and you can ask those questions, and you might even say, because I built a lot of micro learnings in each of these, and so feel free to say, do you have a micro learning or a learning module on this particular subject, and see what it comes up with, or just ask it the specific questions. That's for sure.
I was going to mention this, Alice, that Morgan, who's not here today, but she had made a comment that she had had a chance to test it herself and was very impressed. And she said the experience was seamless and the AI provided consistently accurate answers. Just that's an FYI for you, Randy.
All my testers will be happy to hear that too.
I have
Anybody else?
yeah, I have
Go
a
ahead.
question.
Yeah.
Hey Randy, thanks for the presentation. This is Ryan. The question that I have for you today is, how anonymous is this? Even though we provide or like set up an account, and I also wanted to know of any sort of cost, that would be affiliated with an account, as well.
It's all free. So as I said, this is a passion for this retired senior citizen. So I want people to feel comfortable going on using it without worrying about costs. The second thing, as far as the anonymous, it worked as of about a week ago. Basically, people came on. They didn't have to sign in. They gave no persona or anything. They went in and had their conversation, and it was redacted immediately. So we designed it so that was, privacy by design. That was to be the way it was. Then what happened, and those people that were organically coming on as we were, was going, they insisted on the option of having some memory that they could choose. So they decide what they want to save with each coaching, with each session they come on. Because what they were complaining about was they would come on and start, what coach they had came on with 2 or 3 days ago, but they would have to start over. And so they said, could we have a feature where the memory, we come on and there's some, even if it's just memory that you choose, because it'll ask you whether you want to, save this or this summary conversation or not. And that way, when they come back, the coach has that intelligence so that they can, provide a better coaching experience. So what happened was we said, okay, for those individuals, we have to get some sort of a handle or sign in because you have to go get the memory from somewhere. And so that's where we asked for, and people usually don't use their own name. They just use some other handle. But so that's one way to do it. Or we still have the ability to just come in, start a session, go talk to a coach, but then it's redacted when you leave. And so it's sort of your choice as to whether you want to do it that way or some want the memory. And so we just decided to build it so that they would have a choice. And we just started that last week. And as you well can imagine, we're sorting out a few bugs that have come, but it's been working relatively well. I hope that answers the.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. And what a gift you are providing for our community with making it, one, not only safe, but two, accessible financially at being my favorite cost of free. And so thank you for that, because so often in our community, unfortunately, assistive technology is expensive. It's sometimes financially out of reach for so many of us. And so to be able to have something so supportive and helpful and encouraging, and to have it available to anyone with Wi-Fi, with an internet connection, then that just is just definitely a gift for us in our community. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Hey, another, you have these moments in your life where spark you, and so being an executive coach or advisor, you monetarily can be rewarded well, but let's face it, large corporations, etc., can afford it. And then one day I said to myself, I'm executive coach, doing this since 1985. why can't I have it so like our community can go in and talk to Ricardo when they, want leadership help? And basically Ricardo is me. That's years of executive coaching and being an executive, and I built a lot of tools. The other thing I want to make sure people understand is that those tools are built, accessible and descriptive. So I built those tools. So an example, you go to, and I'll use the Ricardo, the leadership coach, and if our community is talking to certain or about certain tools in the field, a lot of them are visual. So in some cases, I've broken them down and made them descriptive, or in some cases, I've just designed ones for our community. Now, what's interesting also is that you might be surprised how many fully sighted people are coming and using it as well, which is interesting. And they go, well, we just like talking to the coach.
Awesome. Thank you for that information. One other question, and I'm sorry, I've actually been I've been testing this out a little bit over the past couple of months as well, and so I've been anxious for this moment with you. Are you thinking at all? So after this question, I'll be quiet, is what I was going to say. So are you thinking at all of doing like a live speech, similar to how some of the other AI platforms have like live conversations? Are you thinking about that, or is it only going to be like dictation and text communication?
By live speech, would you mean like where I go speak somewhere, or something that is like a demo on the website?
Yeah. So it would be like going into Gemini Live, for example, and I can just have a conversation with it with just my voice, just using my voice, and it would audibly converse back with me through its quote unquote voice as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. I've never thought of that. Thank you. Now you've got my mind going, and I'm like, okay.
Thank you.
That would be fascinating.
Yeah, I think it would be great to have just that opportunity, just for us to put down our phones and have that conversation with the coach, as if it was just another, if you will, person across the table or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the features that I would like to open up at some point, but when I first started looking at the cost, it was a bit much, is where I will have it so that a person could just phone a phone number and select which coach they want via phone, and just talk through, and use it for as a phone. And one of the age brackets I was thinking about is because I did want to build sort of I'm not sure what the word would be, but like an aging companion for seniors, and that and making it easier for them to come in. A lot of them like to use phones as well. So, but that's one option that I would explore at some point.
I have a question. This is not a question, actually. This is Alice. I noticed that in your bullet points, one of them is family and caregiver support. What do you have in mind? What's your thinking about that would be used?
Again, was requested by the community that said, and it's more designed for family and caregivers within all disabilities, and people were saying, well, it'd be nice to have something that people could go on. Let's say a family member and suddenly one of the family members is in a wheelchair or something, and just that the rest of the family could go in and talk to, or a caregiver, and it's more just support, companion. So it's one of those I built and tried, just put it up to try it out, and we haven't formally launched, and we wanted to just see, would this be of value for anyone, that not just our community, but other people that work with us all the time that might, an example, maybe my wife or my adult children might want to go on it and use it, or whatever. It was a bit of a test.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, though. Yeah. Sorry.
The other one I put up is a Brittany, the board coach, and surprisingly, how many board members and senior leaders are using it to prepare work with each other. It's not one of the more used coach. The technology one, really the ones that get a lot of use, and the learning coach and the leadership coach, but the family coach and the board coach, less so. But again, it's all early stage, and we're just testing it out to see where people really want these coaches and these opportunities.
Yeah. Perla, you have a question? You can. Yeah.
Hi, this sounds great. I can't wait to check it out. I'm wondering, since you have job coaching, what about college coaching and college applications and financial aid and all of that? It seems like, before people get jobs, they have to get education, and that might be a big area.
Thank you. That's a really, thank you for that, because I hadn't thought of that. I have snippets of that, like that in TAB, the learning coach, you can put a student plan together and that kind of stuff. But what you're talking about would be much more in depth and useful. Thank you. May I use that idea?
Absolutely. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Oh, my pleasure.
Not seeing any other hands raised. Alice, are you seeing any on your end?
Not at the moment.
Do we have any other questions? And then Randy, did you say that you had a question for us? Was that correct?
The question is, please feel free to give me ideas and suggestions, and as you go in and use it, anything that a person would want to have in there, or bugs, or what have you. I was talking to a teacher of blind and partially sighted students, and he was going to use it as part of his curriculum, where he would have them go on and they have to spend 3 hours, and then report on it, and then they're going to bring me in and drill me on the things that they found and the things that they learned, and it would be a joint learning session for both of us, and looking good, so there's so many different ways. I think whether it's with students or adults in the learning or in the support area, that we can use these things. And again, the key is it's not. I specifically have lots of safeguards built in, like non-medical, non-therapeutic, non-legal. Many times the coach will say, you contact your certified professional in this area and those kinds of things, and have built in a ton of those safeguards so that, this is truly just to support, be a companion, provide learning, etc.
Yeah, I think maybe this might be good to pass along to our TVIs. That might be a really good collaboration there.
Oh, yes, no, absolutely. And by all means, anyone that wants to contact me and, send me an email or an idea, I can give you my email now. There's an email with the website, but also randy.k59@icloud.com anytime. Love to help out and be patient with it. But what I find, the more people use it, the more they want to utilize it and benefit from it. So
I'll go ahead and add your email address to the chat.
or I would make so passionate about it. If ever Vista wants to me in the conversational AI as far as training or development, I would welcome a conversation. This is primarily built in this area, and I believe it'll be a huge potential, one of the opportunities for our community to find employment in the future, over the next 5 years anyway.
Thank you. I do see the email in the chat, and thank you for providing that, Alice.
Sure.
We will for sure stay in contact, Randy. This is again just such a really wonderful tool that we have in our community, and I can't wait to see it continue to grow and just become more and more helpful for all of us. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, and I thank everyone for joining and Vista for hosting this, and it really has been a pleasure. And again, I'm open to suggestions and questions and anything we can do to improve the tool for our community and a growing community of other disabilities. This is spreading just more than our community. It was designed for the blind, but it's spreading to other disabled communities.
Yeah, and I think your presentation, as far as the background goes, I think that was excellent. I think it really provided us a lot of information. The background was wonderful, and also your intent, because we had talked about the making sure to bring up the fact that it was not going to cost anything, and the reason why you had gone into it to begin with. So, yeah, thanks for very, very much for describing that.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, I wish you all well. Thank you very much, and I hope we will be in touch again.
Great, thanks very much. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Give it a second in case somebody's trying to unmute. All right, well, thanks again, everyone. Appreciate the attendance, and again, thank you for the presentation, Randy.
Thanks, Alice. Thanks, Randy. Have a good week, everyone, or weekend.
Okay. Bye, everyone.